What did the plays mean to high drama? What Does Free Mean is done by Nora's Playhouse, written by Catherine Philo and directed by Amy S. Green. I found this to be about a formulaic prison story. It's a women's prison story. They bond. Mary and Anne bond. Anne gets sick. Mary gets mad, ends up in the shoe or solitaire, has hallucinations. She has a good lawyer trying to get her out. There's a good guard and a bad guard. And I love prison genre stories, but maybe I've seen too many, but it just didn't engage me yet. But I thought the acting was fantastic, and the director made some very clever choices. And there was a really interesting talk back afterwards with a Michael Hanley. So, you know, maybe you can go when there's a talk back. My friend loved it and thought it was wonderful, but I'm giving it a mixed face plus.
Mr. Jan Ewing saw and reviewed Antigone by Sophocles, produced by the Classical Theater of Harlem and directed by Carl Cofield. And this one is set in a dystopian future. It's still the story of the Civil War in Thebes, where two brothers, both are dead. The king treats one as a hero, the other as a traitor, and the sister wants to bury the traitor and gets in trouble for it. Jan felt that Sophocles would be thrilled, any playwright would be thrilled by such a classy rendition of the play. Classical Theater has mounted a stunning production, almost operatic in scope, and it's for free at the Marcus Garvey Park Richard Rogers Amphitheater, with wonderful sound effects and great choreography, and also, you know, he really basically liked it a lot. I'm trying to see what else he had to say. And he felt that it was gripping and memorable, and the production is as grand as it gets, and it will be there until the end of the month. Happy face with a lot more on Facebook.
David Ireland's Cypress Avenue comes via Abbey Theater and the Royal Court Theater, and it's directed by Vicky Featherstone. Eric is astounded when he is presented with his new granddaughter and her uncanny resemblance to that blackguard Jerry Adams, the leader of the Sinn Féin political party and a notorious Catholic. His wife Bernie and daughter Julie rightfully think he has gone mad and kick him out of the house. Do his eyes deceive him? Doesn't his entire belief system that wraps around him being a Protestant Brit and not a horrid Irish Catholic be in any doubt? What happens when you take your political and religious convictions too far? Is there any turning back? This was brilliantly done. I had no idea who half the people Eric was rambling on about, but I was still mesmerized. The first half of the play, I was falling out of my seat with laughing so hard, and the second half, I was on the edge of my seat over this gripping tale. Stephen Rea, or Ray, however you want to pronounce it, gives a masterly, dastardly performance. Vicky Featherstone directed this with the intensity of an Edgar Allan Poe story. I wonder if it was necessary to be aware of past history to understand the significance of this play. At any rate, all I know is I wouldn't want to live on Cypress Avenue. Major happy face. Much more on Facebook. I couldn't talk about this enough.
Classic Stage Company is reviving the rarely revived Carmen Jones with book and lyrics by Oscar Hammerstein II, based on Henri Maillac and Ludovic Halevi's adaptation of Prosper Mérimée Carmen, with music by Bizet. This version has choreography by Bill T. Jones and directed by John Doyle. And not sure why, but I'm always tremendously moved by Carmen, a floozy whose heart is as changeable and unforgiving as New York weather. In Carmen Jones, the action is transferred to World War II in an African-American community, a factory for producing parachutes for the war effort, and the honest soldier who loves the hometown girl Cindy Lou is seduced by this changeable floozy. It works so well in an American context. We don't need toreadors, we have prize fighters, and instead of cigarette factory, it's the parachute factory. Doyle does his usual minimalism, but nobody's encumbered by a tuba, and it's just a chance to see a stripped down version of a really great musical with really great performers, and it totally worked for me.
I really liked it too, but then I know the movie with Harry Belafonte and Dorothy Day. For once, I know the movie more than I know the play or musical in this one. And I don't like opera, but I've always liked Carmen Jones because the music by Bizet is so earwormy and hummable. You can sing this in the shower. That's how much fun the music is. So don't be put off if you think it's opera because I mean maybe it is, but it's not to people who hate opera. You'll love it. And Joe, Anika Noni Rose was absolutely fantastic as Carmen Jones. I mean, because the way she transformed from this, like, sexy bombshell who was like, I'm going to seduce Joe. I'm going to get my man. You know, and Sergeant Brown and all these other people wanted her. But she was focused on him, and she was so sexy. But then you see her kind of slowly losing her sexiness, and you're seeing underneath the vulnerable person she really is. And Joe as Clifton Duncan was excellent, and Cindy Lou as the spurned girl Lindsay Roberts. I mean, this cast was fabulous. I loved this.
Yeah, it's one of those rare revivals where everything works. And
despite John Doyle.
No, I think because of him as well. He,
normally I do not like him, but
for this material, he did a great job. Mr. Jan Ewing saw God Save Queen Pam, book, music, and lyrics by Erin Murray Quinlan, and presented by Tawnydog Productions, directed by Brian Tuttle. In this new screwball comedy, God Save Queen Pam, the British royal house of Edivane has died out, and the only living heir is an American bartender with a heart of imitation gold. With the help of her devoted royal staff, Pam Duffy must take on the duties of queen and prove herself to be a suitable monarch before the scheming Lady Fenella can unseat her. The script is tight, the play is very funny, it's well constructed, well played, and the laughs keep coming one after another. He felt the music didn't quite live up to the standards of the play. It was pretty but not thrilling, consisted of a series of songs, many with lyrics that were witty, but had a bit of sameness. So he basically gave it a mixed faces plus, and there's a lot more on Facebook.
And this is Leslie DiLeo's review of Friends the Musical, created by Bob and Tobley McSmith, directed by Paul Stancato, and music by Asaf Gleisner. Friends the Musical is everything you want in a parody. Smart, silly, a little naughty, ridiculous, familiar, and surprisingly touching. Clever and non-stop, the script and songs are well constructed, and the cast members give all to the characters. In addition to relishing the well-known quirks of the characters, Monica's OCD, Rachel's spacey kooky Jewish American princess, Chandler's halting delivery, like me doing this review, I found myself laughing at the most absurd bits almost against my will, as I did when Joey continued to pronounce spaghetti as biscotti. Anyone who has seen Friends over and over, as most fans have, will get a good laugh out of this production. It's a fun night out, and the musical elements are impressive. Grab some of your friends and head down to St. Luke's. They'll be there for you until July 26th when the show closes. Don't miss it. She gives this a...
The Mint is reviving Conflict, a Love Story. Directed by Jen Thompson, written by Miles Mallison, sets by John McDermott. It's England 1920s, and Lady Dare, of a very rich family, is thrown into confusion when she finds herself intrigued by Tom Smith, a socialist, challenging her longtime boyfriend Sir Ronald Clive, who's a conservative. As in Shaw, ideas are explored, but it's more like Shaw on champagne.
Yes, I absolutely love this. It's like the Mint is just does such an amazing job with these old things. And it isn't just about conflict in love over one's emotions of right and wrong, and of course political conflict. And the acting was splendid, as was the play and its production values. I mean, Jessie Shelton, she could have been a spoiled rich girl, but she was more to that than that. And I just love, the fact that Jeremy Beck, who's becoming one of my favorite actors, he was the down and out, and then he becomes this, they help him out, and then he goes against them politically and romantically, and he's just this wonderful actor, and I just love everything he does.
I agree. He's a rising star to see more of, and this play is definitely great to see too.
For once, there's no conflict between us. We both love this play, and it's just really just so clever and brilliant and funny, and you'll just appreciate it even more these days.
But you only have one day to go.
It closes tonight, July 21st. Tada is putting on Golly Gee Whiz, book and music by Eric Rockwell, and book and lyrics by Joanne Bogart. It's directed and choreographed by Joanna Greer. And this was just so much fun. And I got to tell you, in this case, I think the grown-ups are going to enjoy this even more than the kids, because it's not subtle, and we will get it. Mickey and Judy, and that's the characters' names. Gosh, gee whiz, it's the Depression. We have to save the town. Let's put on a show. Oh, let's put it on in the barn. And you've got a character who's like Oscar Levant, who's just very negative. You've got the songwriter and the composer and the lyricist called Saperstein and Codger. And then you have the diva played by Deanna Durbin, obviously. And it's just hilarious. And the music and everything is so much fun. I love Tada. They always do such a good job, but this is a brand new one for me, and I'm giving this a major happy face. Anyone who loves those Mickey and Judy stories, you're just going to fall over loving this.
Opening up this year's Mostly Mozart Festival at Lincoln Center is Available Light, which was a collaboration originally done 35 years ago. Lucinda Child's Dance Company, music by John Adams, and stage design by Frank Gehry. It's on two different levels. It's incredibly intricate dancing with a lot of basically simple kind of steps, but the patterns are amazing. Performers in black, white, and red costumes. Holds Up is just as sublime now as it was 35 years ago. While you can't see this anymore, there's a lot more coming up at Mostly Mozart Festival, including a very strange Japanese version, Nanagawa. Well, it's a version of Shakespeare's damned Scottish play, but it's supposed to be great. I hope I get to see that too. And I'm sure there's even more good stuff at Mostly Mozart.
Leslie DiLeo's review of Pedro Pan, book by Rebecca Aparicio, music lyrics by Stephen Anthony Elkins, directed by Melissa Crespo. It's a charming, touching musical about an emotional and timely subject, parents who are separated from their children because of a treacherous political climate. Between 1960 and 1962, amidst the apprehension of communist indoctrination and the fear that their children would be sent to Soviet labor camps, the parents of more than 14,000 children sent them alone to the United States in an exodus known as Operation Pedro Pan. In this one, Pedro goes to America to stay with his aunt, Tia Lily, and she shows him all around New York. And there he meets a new girl named Wendy from Alabama. And Wendy makes it clear that she does not intend to suffer insults or hide her light under a bushel. The songs and books are simple, both upbeat and poignant, but it's a delivery by each actor that elevates the action skyward. It's a lovely musical that's rich with emotion and life, but not overly fussy or histrionic, and you should see it. And I saw this 3 years ago at the New York Fringe, when we used to have the Fringe. I miss it. And I loved it then too. Apparently they changed it a lot. It's got different actors and everything, but obviously it's still not just a good musical, but it's so relevant today. So she is giving this a major happy face. And you know what? From 3 years ago when I saw it, I gave it a happy face too. My bad. I completely forgot to mention that this is part of New York Music Festival. NYMF is going on right now. So, anyway, there's 12 productions, lots of readings, lots of concerts, and I'm going to be seeing a lot of stuff from NYMF. So, keep an eye on our Facebook page, because as soon as I see something, the review's going to pop up. And I'll have more in the listings later. But yes, NYMF is going on right now, and Pedro Pan was part of it. And another festival going on right now is the Planet Connection Theater Festivity, which is now in its 10th year. Glory Cadigan, former High Drama co-host, has really done a wonderful festival because every play benefits someone. And it's so good, and for the planet and for the theater community and for just seeing a good show. And she also does this thing called Playwrights for a Cause. And I happened to go to a reading of my favorite playwright, Jose Rivera, for The Imperfect Love Story of Delilah and Venancio, which was hysterical. And I got to meet him afterwards, which was a big thrill for me. So, yeah, check it out. Go to Planet Connection. I'll have all the information on the end of the show here, because there's so many plays going on, and you can feel good because you're helping the world to be a better place, and I just love this theater festival.
Eva and I had a wonderful Bastille Day at the Beach Cafe with Karen Akers doing her Vive la Chanson, the French show. And coming up, you could see tonight, July 21st, Eric Comstock and Barbara Fasano. And Karen Akers' show was just brilliant. It was Paris in all its moods, rosy or gray, lots of Piaf songs, a heartbreaking Barbara song about a woman who sells her last memento of her lover at the auction house, and it was just great.
Oh God, we love Karen Akers to pieces, and she's coming back to Beach Cafe August 11th. In fact, every Saturday night you can find a cabaret at the Beach Cafe, and the food is really good, and it's a wonderful atmosphere. And Karen Akers really is my favorite cabaret singer. I mean, she really, and when she was giving her patter, it made us even more understand why she's so good with her music, because she really does do these storytelling songs. That's why every song gets to me. It'll either make me laugh or make me cry, but it moves me because I'm watching a little tiny microcosm theater in every song she does, and her voice is so impeccable, and she's so elegant and gorgeous. I can't say enough how much I love Karen Akers.
Intimate performer, and you just feel you're right there with her. You're sharing every emotion. When she sings about an arc-en-ciel, you see the rainbow. It's absolute perfection.
As I said when I was talking about this before it happened, was even if you don't understand French, you can still understand what she's saying, just the way she says it. So it's like you could still be moved by the music. And we had a sing along with my all-time favorite PF song, My Lord. So we all got to go la 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 la. I love it so. Anyway, Beach Cafe gets a happy face, Karen Akers gets a happy face, and I'm sure tonight we'll get a happy face if I were going.
Yes, great food, great prices, great entertainment.
Oh, and huge portions. We should say the food portions are brilliant. It'll last you for 3 meals. Latest Encores off-center was the late, great Michael Friedman's Gone Missing, written for the civilians, with a book by Steve Kazan. This is a post-9/11 show, so it was more about missing things and objects and people, but that didn't stop it from exploring lost loves. The biggest loss of all is that there can never be a Michael Friedman Gone Missing sequel. He died of AIDS this year. It isn't just objects, things, or people you can lose, but you can lose your virginity, your innocence, your sense of humor, the plot, any sense of self-worth, your cool, your mind. It's the sentimental value of a scarf or pump or ring that hurts to be lost. Unlike the previous Encore's off-center selection songs from A New World, this had some running storylines, from a cop to a radio interview show with the author of Losers, Weepers, The Cultural History of Nostalgia. As everyone has experienced some sort of loss, this was a musical everyone could find funny, sad, and recognizable. And coming up next is Don't Bother Me, I Can't Cope, July 25th through 28th. And I just love, and also make sure you go for the lobby project first. That's at 6:30. They give you kind of like a preamble or prologue to the musical you're about to see. And it's always so moving and wonderful. And I love, love, love Encores Off Center.
At the Armory until July 28th is Ivo van Hove's adaptation of the Luchino Visconti screenplay for his great film The Damned. And I'm sure it's going to be really exciting. The Comédie Française are the performers. So I'll have more to say on Facebook about it after I see.
So we just got back from Corkscrew Festival. They're doing several plays. We saw the first one called The End of Mermaids by Anya Richkind, directed by Alison Banco. And this was a very strange little play, which could have been called What Price Beauty? Because it was all about this mermaid land where these girls put on this mermaid show, and they kept getting eaten by alligators. And there was a guy playing an alligator. His name is Larry, by the way. And it was all about how everyone just is striving for beauty, even the alligator. And this young, fresh thing comes in, and she's from Brooklyn, and she wants to be it because she had this friend who was always so beautiful, no matter, even if she had messy hair, she could make herself look beautiful. So everyone wants to make themselves look beautiful. So to me, that's what this was about.
Yeah, well, to me, it was like very different. I thought it was about commerce, you know, because when the alligator eats a mermaid, then the ratings go up. Like the woman who's in charge of the place, called Lola, she also makes videos, and the videos go haywire, like millions of people watching. And one night, one of the woman is dead, eaten up by the alligator. This is the first time they show us, you know, and then the next day, one of the girls said we should close this up and just go, and I should become the professor and everything. And she said, no, the million people will sell the whole thing, and then you can have money to go and become a teacher and all. So beauty I saw in a different way, because I think the set was nice and they looked nice. They were very colorful clothes and sequins and all that. That's the beauty I saw, but I didn't think this show was for...
No. She was saying her way of convincing her to stay and to keep the show going on. It wasn't really about, it was the fact that, yes, you know, we can finally make something that's, but the point is we can show people beauty. People need beauty right now. We can make a difference because of beauty. It's like beauty was the solution to all of life's problems to them.
Yeah, well, but the thing is, the reality, they showed us the reality. The risk of the beauty, alligator is really eating all these people up, right? One after the other.
But it's worth the risk to them for the end outcome of being beauty.
I guess it's that was their idea, but it's very absurd, and it's like really,
of course it's an absurd play because you had this guy in green overalls being an alligator.
Yeah, but I liked the guy. He was so scary to me that he scared me, and I think he was a very good actor. Patrick Riley is his name, and he played Larry.
I thought all the actors were good, and in fact, one of them was from my old alma mater, Ithaca College.
B.
Maggie Thompson.
And the young girl, she was good. The Mary, you know, she who.
Bina gave it a mixed. I gave it a happy face minus because it was fringy. And now Jamie Leo, book and lyricist for 68 at NYMF.
Hi, I'm Jamie Leo, the book and lyrics author of a new musical called 68, with a beautiful score by Paul Leshin. We are very excited to have been invited to be one of the two invited performances at the New York Musical Theater Festival. We open the 24th of July. You shouldn't miss it. It's powerful. The cast is extraordinary. Joey Murray, our director at the helm, has crafted a beautiful piece of work. It is not going to be a musical where Hubert Humphrey and Abby Hoffman are tap dancing. It's not that story about the riots in Chicago 50 years ago this summer. It's about people whose lives are changed by the tide of change and winds of change. Our protagonists are people who were there from research librarians to street cops to social workers to housekeepers. And the tale that we tell is one that is very much to all of us about the lives we are leading today. So it is as much about today and the stresses that we feel now as it is a time capsule about the past. It's funny, its songs are extraordinary, and I invite you to go listen to them. Go to nymph.org/68 and hear some of the songs from the show. I think you're in for a real treat.
This is Cynthia Allen's review of Desperate Measures. There is a great deal of nonsense, or nuisance, hanging over Desperate Measures, a saucy farce that is nonetheless quick-witted besides being a hoot. This Wild West musical comedy is inspired by William Shakespeare's Measure for Measure. The plot keeps to the bard's basic premise, in which a dictatorial governor tries to manipulate a nun into sleeping with him in order to free her brother from being hanged. The cast tickles everyone's fantasy. The Desperate Measures enacted are fun and lighthearted, not grim. More next show on the Facebook, but I ran out of time. Happy face. And remember, longer reviews, and you can find the show on YouTube, Eva Heinemann. Company 14 is doing burlesque, bullfight. Before We're Gone will show up on the Facebook page of the review. We just got the show and are doing it. Shakespeare in the Parking Lot doing Hamlet. And 12th Night is at Delacorte, and that's going to be the community theater one. Innovative Theater Awards nomination party July 23rd. 15th anniversary of Anna Q. Things are going on until July 29th. Rebel Playhouse is having our benefit on Rebel on Top Planet Connection, mostly Mozart. NYMF, lots of stuff going on at NYMF. Ice Factory. Running out of time, so I have to be fast, but at 54 below, the 15th anniversary reunion concert July 30th with the original members. And there'll be more detail on the Facebook page. You should like our Facebook page because there's always information and long reviews. And the show itself. If you don't want to go to YouTube, you can see it on the Facebook page because I put it there. Potomac Theater Project. They're doing Brecht on Brecht and the Possibility After Dinner. And Mary Page Marlowe will talk about that on our next show as with My Life on a Diet. And Tevye Served Raw is Shalom Aleichem stories featuring Tevye and other stories as well. It's hysterical. It's so moving. I loved it. And these are the reviews you can find on our Facebook page that have closed. Don't forget to pick, and the parody production. And don't forget to pick up your Performing Arts Insider, the cultural heartbeat of New York City. And I find all the theater I want to see there. Next show, August 4th. Thank you to everyone that contributed. Go to Facebook and YouTube.